Good evening and welcome to day 10 of the hashtag Give It 100 Sweet Picking Challenge. My name is Mike, but you may have already known that. Anyway, not that that's important, but I've taken a few days off. Life does get in the way. I apologize about that. I've been trying to be very consistent about this, and even though I've been tired, I've had a stressful day because, yes, I'm actually affected by the government shutdown. Say of that what you will. It's a little stressful, but we'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, despite all that, I've been able to get the guitar out again after the weekend and try to pick up again. So before I get into it, a couple things. Thank you to my sponsors, Perrier. Well, I'm just kidding. Nobody sponsors this nonsense. This is just me by myself. I was playing around as I usually do before I start recording, and I practiced a little bit. One of the things that I noticed was, and I'll demonstrate this, to make this a little bit easier, there's a couple things that may be causing me some problems. So let's start with this. One of the things is the angle that I'm using I've noticed, and maybe an astute player will notice this if they watch the video, that the angle that I'm using on the pick as I go up and down each way may not be the best way to do this, because it should be fairly smooth. So for example, here's just a standard D chord. And all I'm going to do is just drag I'm going to use just the bottom 5 strings because that's for the exercise the only ones you need. So if I do this, try that again. Once again. So you can hear how it sort of just glides along there. And then if I come back the other way and rake it upstroke, sounds pretty fluid, right? Well, I've noticed as I was practicing beforehand that when I was trying to play this pattern that doesn't work for me, because watch what happens. So I'm not trying to exaggerate that. That's what happens after a few days off and being as where I'm at with my technique. But I tend to not be as loose, in the direction that I was showing before, which is the way I think it probably should be and should sound. So, by contrast, whereas what happens for me something like that. Anyway, so I say all that to say that as I've been going through this, I'm actually learning little things, what to do, what not to do, and sort of little tiny areas for technique exploration that might make this more successful along the way, because I certainly wouldn't want to get to day 40 and somebody pipe up and say, hey, you fool, this is not the way you're supposed to do this, you're doing this all wrong. But even if they did, and they did it in a way that was helpful and constructive, I would probably look into it. So anyway, without further ado, and no Perrier this time, I will now do day 10 of the Give It 100 challenge. Here we go. And by the way, I turned the reverb off so it's not howling as much as it was before. Always relax. So relax the hand. I'm getting tension right in here. Shh. Shh. Tension right in here. Tension in here. Shouldn't have that tension in the neck a little bit. Not because it's as uncomfortable hunching over as it looks, but because I'm just call that shutdown tension. See this guy? Not economy of motion. Because I'm having to do this like... which is part of the reason I'm having trouble executing the exercise. Oh, look at the time. Well, it's already over, and just a little bit about that real quick. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but one of the things that I'm actually finding was a thing called artificial harmonics, sometimes called pinch harmonics. I've actually started to get them now, but I found when I read on how to do this and look online, if I watch a video, for example, it's something that I haven't been able to do, and it's particularly difficult on playing, playing my Stratocaster. I'm able to do it now. It tends to come out a little bit more easily on the Les Paul. On this one, it was coming out kind of half and half. But as I started this exercise to learn how to do this sweep picking technique, it turns out that basically what I was doing was actually angling my thumb more into the strings. And so now, when I don't want the artificial harmonics or the pinch harmonics, I'm getting them like so. See right there, that high-pitched squeal? There's another one. There you go. It's the side of the thumb that's hitting the string, because I'm trying to, not only I'm not playing straight up and down like this, but I'm playing closer so the pick isn't as perpendicular to the body of the guitar. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now because I really don't know what I'm doing. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, or if you ever need something to combat the noise problem that your neighbors are causing, just turn this video all the way up and just play it on loop forever. All right? Have a good night. We'll see you next time. 90% more to go. We're only 10% of the way there, so keep the faith. That's more for me than it is for you. Have a good night.